Hello there, guys, and welcome to Daily Updates. Over the years, ordinary citizens of South Africa have been complaining about the misadministration of the ruling party, which is the ANC. For so many years, people have been complaining. The shenanigans that are happening in this country are really surprising. But what happens when you give a mic to a person that never speaks, that never goes there to exercise their freedom of speech because of the position they are holding? What really happens when you do that? This story is about our 14 soldiers who were killed in DRC by M23. Over the past 2 weeks, they've been arranging funerals for them to rest in peace because that's what we owe them for risking their lives for us. But one thing we did not expect is the Lieutenant General to go on stage and tell us about the misadministration of the ruling party. Let's just say currently, the misadministration of the GNU. Finally, people are expressing their voices, and when they do that, it becomes a shocker. Let's listen to this.
I'm sure many of you know that we are sharing our grants for the poor with people who are not supposed to share the grants. And that is because we are not protected. Our borders are porous. And they're porous because you, the politicians, have decided you want a Mickey Mouse Defense Force.
Finally, people are starting to express themselves. People who, in a million years, we would not even think that they would one day go to the podium and expose the government. Who am I talking about? Lieutenant General Ntshavheni Maphaha is the person that I'm speaking about. He got the chance to speak at one of the funerals, and the things that were said, nobody, not even the politicians that were there, had expected that. Let's have a listen.
What I'm going to say here, I may be trampling on some cones, so please pardon me, Premier, and the parliamentarians that are here. All of you know that South Africa, in its position in the world, we are a global player. In Africa, we are the leader in terms of economics and geopolitics. And therefore, we are considered a big brother. No, you cannot be a big brother if you are unable to wield a stick that will make people be afraid. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is he talking about and all that? How many of you will build a beautiful and expensive house and not fence it and protect it? I don't think none of you will do that. Constitutionally, the South African National Defence Force is mandated to protect and defend the country. Now, any home will display its character, its worthiness, by the level of security that it places around it. Now, if we're going to play big brother in Africa, and therefore what we give for the Defense Force should symbolize that. A lot has been said about the South African National Defense Force not being well equipped, not being resourced and all that. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm saying, and I'm appealing to the politicians that are here, that next time you sit down and debate, think whether you are protected or not. Because that grant that you're giving to the people out there, the education of your children and everything else will not materialize if you're not protected. I'm sure many of you know that we are sharing our grants for the poor with people who are not supposed to share the grants. And that is because we are not protected. Our borders are porous. And they're porous because you, the politicians, have decided you want a Mickey Mouse Defense Force.
I hope it's not in any way related to our Minister Ntshavheni, because the things that are being said here and the things that are being said at most time by our Minister Ntshavheni, those don't go together. You can see that these minds are not coming from the same roots. You don't really think that you could one day listen to him saying such things. Their job is to protect the country. This gentleman is touching on some very important issues. He's speaking about the fact that we are supposed to be the big brother of Africa. But how do you become the big brother while you have so many issues? You want to turn the South African National Defence Force into a Mickey Mouse. You have this big brother, the so-called big brother called South Africa, that should be the big brother of Africa. Now, as the country that is supposed to be the big brother, you cannot go and be the big brother while you cannot even fix your mess. Making an example about the grant. So many illegal foreigners in South Africa are getting the grant. If you think that cannot happen, go deeper. You are going to be surprised. There was a point that we got 500 billion for COVID. Comrades pocketed most of that money. Comrades made sure that they open businesses just in few seconds, and those businesses are compliant. I mean, I'm sorry to Zimbabwe is one of the country that we can make an example about. They have a president called Mnangagwa. That man is getting rich. The people are poor. What do? They run into South Africa. If you want to stop some of those things that the lieutenant is speaking about, why not deploy a lot of soldiers so that they can stay there at the borders and you make sure that there is accountability, they don't become corrupt? Why don't you go and make sure that there is a lot of funding to our National Defence Force, because without them, we are going to get more soldiers being killed. We are Mickey Mouse. I mean, he didn't want to call us Mickey Mouse, but we are definitely Mickey Mouse. Less funding to the security of the country, the National Defence Force. It means that we can be attacked at any time. The lieutenant is very correct. I mean, now politicians are going to start attacking him because of the things that he said. But this man has exposed the government. This man has just told us the truth that we are useless government. We want a Mickey Mouse National Defence Force. Who are they going to defend if the politicians are pocketing most of the money? Just because we have the GNU doesn't really mean that things are going to change. They cannot even agree on the budget. The other one says 2%. The other one says no percent. These people, they care about themselves. And it's quite refreshing hearing from Mr. Ntshavheni, Lieutenant General Ntshavheni, because whatever he said, whether they attack him or not, the man is speaking the truth. Our government is very useless. Instead of protecting the country, they are busy protecting their pockets. They know that even if we are attacked, they have the bunkers there where they are going to hide. South Africans, you are on your own. If you get a lieutenant general who goes to speak like this, because they are hurtful with what they are seeing, these are the ones who are the first respondent to anything that comes to our country. So they can see a lot of infiltration from the other countries, the illegal foreigners, and what is happening in this country. We are going to remain poor if nothing is changed, and we are no longer going to be the big brother. I mean, we are not even the big brother. How can you be a big brother that keeps accepting each and every person and not even caring about your own people? Big brother to who? To Africa, when you cannot even be the big brother to your own people, your own family. They said charity begins at home. In South Africa, charity begins in the pockets of the comrade. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning into the channel, and until next time, cheers.